The human brain is the most sophisticated piece of biological machinery in the known universe, yet it possesses a profound vulnerability. It was never designed for the modern world of infinite, high-intensity digital stimulation. When we discuss the timeline of recovery from porn addiction, we aren't just talking about counting days on a calendar. We are talking about a physical and chemical reconstruction of your neural pathways. Many people embark on this journey asking for a specific number, 30 days, 90 days, or perhaps a year. But as highlighted in the foundational research of experts like Dr. Anna Lembke from Stanford University, the answer is nuanced. To truly understand how long it takes to heal, we must first understand what we are healing from.
The baseline for any neurological reset is generally accepted to be 30 days. This 30-day window is critical because it represents the minimum amount of time required for the brain's dopamine receptors to begin the process of upregulation. When you saturate your brain with the hyperstimulation found in modern digital content, your brain protects itself by down-regulating or turning off its dopamine receptors. It's as if you were standing in a room with a stereo playing at maximum volume. Eventually, your ears stop being sensitive to quiet sounds just to survive the noise. In those first 30 days of total abstinence, you are essentially asking your brain to sit in the silence. This is why the initial phase is so difficult. You may experience what is often called the withdrawal dip, where you feel worse than you did when you were using. You might face heightened anxiety, a lack of motivation, or a deep sense of irritability. This isn't a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that the pain-pleasure balance in your brain is attempting to level itself out. As Dr. Lembke describes in her work on dopamine addiction, the brain works like a scale. When we tip it too far toward pleasure, the brain's self-regulating homeostatic mechanisms put a heavy weight on the side of pain to bring us back to center. When you stop the addiction, that pleasure weight is removed instantly, but the pain weight remains for a few weeks, leading to a temporary state of depression or restlessness. However, 30 days is just the foundation. The total duration of your recovery depends on two primary variables: your starting point and your strategy. Your starting point is determined by the depth of the neural ruts you have carved into your mind. Consider the analogy of weight loss. If two people want to see visible abdominal muscles, but one is already lean and the other is heavily overweight, the timeline will be drastically different. In recovery, your starting point includes how many years you have been using, how many hours per week you spent on the habit, and how far you escalated into hardcore or extreme content. A habit that has been reinforced since adolescence is more deeply ingrained in the prefrontal cortex than one that started later in life. This doesn't mean healing is impossible for long-term users. It simply means the reconstruction project is larger in scale.
The second variable, your strategy, is the ultimate accelerant for healing. As the Quit by Healing philosophy emphasizes, there is a massive difference between white-knuckling your way through abstinence and actively rebuilding your life. If you simply remove the addiction but leave a vacuum in its place, your brain will heal at a glacial pace. To speed up the process, you must replace cheap dopamine with high-effort dopamine. Cheap dopamine is passive, instant, and requires no work. Think of scrolling through social media or eating junk food. High-effort dopamine comes from activities like intense physical exercise, learning a difficult new skill, or engaging in deep face-to-face social interaction. When you engage in these challenging tasks, you stimulate the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. This protein acts like fertilizer for your neurons, helping your brain to physically rewire itself faster. As you move past the 30-day mark and into the 60 to 90-day range, many men experience what is known as the flatline. This is perhaps the most dangerous part of the timeline because it feels like progress has stopped. Your libido might vanish and you might feel emotionally numb. In reality, this is the recalibration phase where your brain is testing its new lower baseline of stimulation. If you can endure this period without retreating to old habits, you will reach the rebirth phase. This is where the colors of the world start to look brighter again. You begin to feel natural attraction toward real people. Your mental RAM clears up, allowing you to focus on complex professional or creative tasks for hours without the fog of addiction clouding your judgment.
But there is a final, deeper truth we must address. The exact number of days ultimately does not matter. If you are looking for a finish line so that you can return to your old life, you have already lost. The goal of recovery isn't to reach day 90 and then stop trying. The goal is to become the type of person who no longer needs that escape. As the original video notes, the healing process takes significantly less than a lifetime. When you look back a decade from now, the difference between it taking 60 days or 200 days will be irrelevant. What will matter is that you had the courage to start today and the discipline to stay the course through the silence of the first 30 days. Your brain is a masterpiece of adaptation. It can heal, it can rewire, and it can return to a state of classical balanced strength. The process of becoming porn-free is not just about stopping a bad habit, it is about reclaiming your humanity and your potential. Start the clock today, focus on your strategy, and trust that the biology of your brain will follow your lead.